In the endless desert of ancient Egypt, along the fertile banks of the Nile River, gods and humans coexisted. However, between 3000 and 2000 BC, the power struggles among Egyptian kingdoms intensified. The conflicts between Thebes and Memphis shook even the world of the gods. There was a name that was whispered in fear, even at night: Anubis. He was the master of death, the judge of souls, and the master of mummification. With a jackal-headed visage, he was the guardian of the underworld. His birth and lineage were shrouded in the greatest secrets among the gods. Anubis grew in the shadow of Set's plots against Osiris to seize the throne of Egypt and the civil wars between kingdoms. His fate would be shaped not only in the world of the dead, but also in that of the living. If you are inspired by this story and want to dive deeper into mythological tales, subscribe to our channel now. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Anubis's mother was Neferet, the wife of Set and the sister of Osiris. Neferet was a mysterious and sorrowful goddess. She was associated with night and morning, silent yet wise. She roamed in the shadows, guiding lost souls. However, she hated her husband Set, who was a ruthless and ambitious war god. One night, Neferet disguised herself as Osiris and united with him, giving birth to Anubis from this forbidden union. Anubis's father, Osiris, was the god of wisdom and justice. He was worshipped as the king who provided the blessings of the Nile, taught people agriculture, and brought order to the earth. Anubis inherited authority and justice from his father, while he gained mystery and a connection to darkness from his mother. However, fearing Set's wrath, Neferet was forced to abandon Anubis. She knew she could not protect her son, as she was the goddess of the dead and mourning. Therefore, Anubis was raised by Isis, Osiris's wife. Isis taught him spells, instilled wisdom, and introduced him to the pathways of Duat, the Egyptian afterlife. Even as a child, Anubis possessed supernatural powers. His eyes shone like stars at night, and his voice echoed like the whispers of the wind. He could walk in darkness and see deep within graves. When he touched a body, he could give life or take it. Over time, his power transcended the physical realm, reaching a spiritual dimension. He could see the souls of the deceased and sense their fates. Thus, Anubis accepted his destiny not just as a god, but as the ruler of death. When he grew up, Anubis took on the most challenging and terrifying duty of the gods, judging the dead. He was not only a judge, but also the master of justice and the inevitable end. When people died, their souls would journey to Duat, where their cries echoed through dim and gloomy corridors of the underworld. This journey was both a journey of atonement and fear. Every soul had to stand before Anubis before feeling the cold hands of death. Each soul coming to Anubis bore infinite sorrow and fear in their eyes. As the lord of the dark jackals, he would weigh the hearts of souls with the feather of Mayat. If a heart was pure and innocent, it would be accepted into the Aru, reminiscent of the paradise governed by Osiris. It was a realm adorned with blue lily flowers, where eternal life was promised. But if a soul's heart was heavy and burdened with sins, the trembling soul's eyes would turn in fear towards Amit. Amit, a dreadful creature emerging from hell, waiting to tear apart souls and condemn them to endless pain, lurked in the shadows. As Anubis balanced the scales of fate, there was not even a drop of mercy in his eyes. Death was just, and everyone would receive their due. There was no escape. The cries, echoing in the depths of Duat, were doomed to resound in eternal darkness forever. Anubis's duty was not just limited to being a judge. He was also the god of mummification. He was the first to initiate the ritual processes that prepared the dead for immortality. Egyptians learned the art of mummification through his wisdom, showing respect to the deceased. Throughout history, the greatest pharaohs, including Tutankhamun, were preserved by his hands. Not only kings, but also great priests and warriors. were prepared for their eternal journey under his supervision. According to one legend, Anubis protected Osiris's body from Set's wrath, making him the first king of the land of the dead. In another story, the invincible warrior Ramses's body was wrapped in Anubis's sacred rituals, allowing him to maintain his power even after death. Those mummified under his watch were considered fortunate souls, taking a step into eternal life. Anubis's path intersected not only with the spirits, but also with the living. When his father Osiris was ruthlessly slain by the malevolent Set, the waters of the Nile turned crimson, and the skies of Egypt darkened in mourning. Osiris's body was shattered and scattered across distant lands. However, Anubis, tracing the ancient magical trails and following the whispers of the stars, sought out each piece of his father's remains. As he pursued Set's shadows, Anubis reassembled the body, performing sacred rites. The winds echoed with the lamentations of Isis, while Anubis's hands began to lift the veil between life and death. The ritual of mummification was performed that night for the first time. Anubis's dark magic separated Osiris from his physical form, making him the inaugural and eternal ruler of the realm of the dead. That night, Anubis not only vowed to avenge his father, but also embraced his destiny as the Lord of Death. Yet, upon learning of this, Set's fury shook the heavens. With flames of pure hatred burning in his eyes, he hunted Anubis down. The temples of Egypt creaked, and sandstorms echoed the wrath of the gods. A bloody war erupted among the deities. Anubis and Set engaged in a duel that erased the boundaries between life and death. The thunderous clash of blows reverberated deep into the underworld. As Set attacked with his wild fury, Anubis's eyes shone with the power drawn from the darkness of Duat. He was not merely a warrior, he was the Lord of the dead, the sovereign of the night, and the blessed soul of death itself. Set's sharp blades could not pierce him, nor harm his flesh, for Anubis was not just a physical being, but the embodiment of darkness itself. The battle raged for days, the howls of jackals merging with the angry cries of the gods. Eventually, Anubis's sacred hands captured Set and cast him, forever cursed, into the deepest darkness of the desert. Set's screams were lost within the sands, doomed to be forgotten for eternity. However, this victory could not erase the heaviness in Anubis's soul, for wars are always won at a cost. Among the gods, not much was said about Anubis's love life. Yet a hidden legend, buried in the dust of time, whispered of his forbidden love that he dared to embrace in eternal darkness. Anubis had fallen in love with a priestess named Neferet. As she murmured hymns in the temples, blessing the bodies of the deceased bathed in candlelight, she prayed for their journey. Yet she was more than just a priestess. She was a being that shone like a star, reflecting light even from within the shadows. Over time, Anubis was captivated by her beauty, her purity, and the profound peace that echoed in every glance. But fate, as it often does, bound them together, as much as it condemned them to separation. Neferet had to remain faithful to her sacred duties, while Anubis was the Lord of Death. Yet love proved stronger than the gods' laws. They secretly met in the dark of night, finding refuge in each other's presence during moments that seemed to pause time itself. In Anubis's strong arms, Neferet felt as if everything in the world had faded away, while Anubis realized that even immortality carried a profound loneliness without her. However, the price of this love was steep. Neferet's enchantment within the temples transformed into a curse one fateful day. The gods could not forgive their bond. Neferet became eternally trapped as a spirit in the dark corridors of Duat. Anubis searched the entirety of the realm of the dead, turning to ancient spells and forbidden knowledge to bring his beloved back, yet no power could rescue her. As Anubis bore witness to the loss of his love, even the Lord of the Dead found himself helpless before death for the first time. From that day forth, the winds of Duat carried Neferet's whispers. Anubis gazed at the stars each night, whispering her name to the heavens in the hope of an echo. But the void remained cold and merciless against him. He sought her silhouette, a touch, a memory in the shadows. But solitude clung to him like a curse, sinking deep into his bones. As time passed, the pain Anubis carried in his heart became a burden as heavy as eternity itself. Neferet's absence echoed in the eyes of every soul he judged. Each heart laden with guilt sought her traces. He felt the emptiness never cease when he guided his hands over the scales of justice. As he ruled over the realm of the dead, he wandered through the labyrinth of Duat like a lost soul. The Lord of Death forgot how to smile, for love had become the most sacred soul to abandon him. Every night, with a whisper that echoed like a scream beneath the stars, he awaited her within infinity. Yet Neferet never returned. Thus, Anubis could find no peace, for even in the realm of the dead, some losses could never be avenged. As the golden ages of Egypt came to an end, a darkness rose to disrupt the order. Apophis, the eternal serpent of chaos and destruction, was preparing to engulf the skies and shroud Duat completely in darkness. The heavens trembled in flames, tearing apart the boundaries of the underworld. Souls fled in panic as death became evident even in the land of the dead. On that cursed night, when temples crumbled and souls wailed, Anubis heard the ominous resonances. In from the heavens, as the Lord of the Dead, he rose from the depths of the underworld to protect the souls. In his hand, he held a death blade blessed with divine seals. With each strike, the skies flashed like lightning. Each swing rent the chaos, piercing into the dark body of Apophis. However, Apophis was not just an enemy. He embodied the very essence of eternal destruction. Even if Anubis's sharp knife pierced his skin, chaos could never truly die. During a battle that lasted hours, days, or perhaps eons, Anubis's blood was shed upon the sacred earth. Apophis's claws tore into his chest, threatening the infinite wisdom he carried. But Anubis did not fall. His eyes shone even brighter than on that fateful night the stars vanished. Eventually, Apophis was forced to retreat, but he did not disappear entirely. This battle carved an infinite curse into the history of Duat. Darkness descended, and the shadows of chaos seeped throughout the realm of the dead. Anubis staggered as the warm blood from his wounds mingled with the soil of Duat. Yet he did not fall. He was not merely a warrior. He was a guardian sealed by fate itself. Taking a deep breath, he gazed skyward and swore an oath. Even the stars trembled at the moment he pledged. The realm of the dead would never yield to chaos. No matter how great, no darkness would force the master of justice and order to bend. But Anubis knew this was not just a victory. It was a brief silence in an ongoing war. Apophis would return, and perhaps this time fate would not favor the Lord of Death. From that day forward, Anubis did not rest or find peace. The whispers echoing through the depths of eternity spoke of the inevitability of the next battle. Even today, Anubis's shadow resonates within the sealed sarcophagi of ancient pharaohs, in prayers carved into stones, and in the dark corridors of tombs. He is a legend that time cannot erase, the indomitable guardian of death and justice. When night falls and the jackals howl, his name is whispered. For Anubis is not merely a god, but the silent judge of infinity. At the gates of the realm of the dead, he stands tall at the scales. Every soul that falls into his hands confronts the sins committed throughout their lives. As the weight of their hearts determines their fate, Anubis's cold eyes perceive the deepest truth. No plea, no remorse, no tears can soften him, for death is merciless yet just. As temple priests invoke his name in prayers, pharaohs are sealed in terror at the moment of their soul's judgment. For everyone in the end will surrender to his decree and experience their destinies in the dark paths of Duat. He does not vanish into shadows, nor is he forgotten or obliterated. Because when Anubis's name is whispered, even death stops for a moment. If you have been touched by this tale and wish to delve deeper into more mythological legends, subscribe to our channel now. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.